Hey, everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, October 25th, 2020. I have a very important correction to start out with this week. I realized this week that the bed where Elena and Nate had their physical, I've been calling it a hospital cot, but I got a much better look at it this week and realized that it is an exam table. It's just a straight up exam table with that stripe of paper running down the center of it. You know, that's kind of held on by those yellowing plastic bands. Can you even imagine having the hottest sex of your life take place with the sound of that crunching paper beneath you? Ugh! And getting your skin all caught on that gross fake leather of the exam table's made of. I wouldn't even want to touch that thing, let alone have sex on it. And yet, to Nate, this was the greatest night of his life. The sound of crunching paper and squeaking skin on gross fake leather. Nate cannot get enough of it. He's longingly looking at that exam table every time he goes to the clinic. And little does Elena know that exam table may very well be the place where her child was conceived. What a great week. Oh, what a great week of Y&R, you have to admit. Y&R really gave us something to talk about this week. Well, this was the first gala that we've had in forever. And it was full of high drama and high glamorous fashion wear. We had Phyllis in red sparkles, we had Amanda in silver sparkles, and we had Elena in tears. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Oh my goodness. Before I get too far into the drama, I would like to nominate Phyllis for an award. I want her to get an award for the best stage designer for Devon's Business Person of the Year award ceremony. Because not only did Phyllis look stunning in her sparkly red Tootsie dress, but the way that she had the stage organized, it was beautiful. There were those moody blue and purple lights glowing in the background while Devon was giving his speech, and then she had these two bright orange flower arrangements in the foreground. It was such a pretty scene before things got ugly. The stage was set all right. This was supposed to be a very special evening for Devon and for Elena too. Devon had reserved a room upstairs at the Grand Phoenix for them to unwind before and after the ceremony. And all of Devon's friends were in attendance. I mean, not only Elena, but Nate was there, his trustworthy cousin. And Amanda was there. Everybody wanted to support Devon. And he did give a very beautiful and very Devon-like humble speech. And of course, he thanked everyone in his family. And of course, he thanked the New Hope Clinic staff for their hard work. Their hard work. Amanda was also picking up on the hard work that Elena and Nate had been doing at the clinic. Elena and Nate were trying real hard to pretend like nothing had happened, but they were clearly uncomfortable around each other. You can't be casual with someone after you just had casual sex. Impossible. I had to laugh because Nate had this moment where he was trying to convince Elena that they should just try to make it normal by having some casual small talk. And then the very first thing he said as his example of casual small talk was to tell Elena that she looks amazing tonight. That's not small talk. That's I love you and I want to have sex with you again talk. It was so obvious that Amanda even made a little comment to Nate saying, I won't tell Devon what's going on here between you and Elena. I can read between the lines, but I'm not going to tell anyone about it. But just so you know, I know. And I have to admit, I was secretly hoping that Amanda would blab about it and tell Devon, but Elena beat her to the punch. The previews were all true. I couldn't believe it. Elena couldn't hold it in any longer. And as soon as she and Devon got upstairs after the ceremony, she told him everything. Brittany Sarpy was so good in that scene. In fact, she was good all week long. I know that everyone hates Elena right now. She's gonna be the town punching bag for who knows how long, but I don't care. I love her more now. More. She was so good. And Elena's confession scene with Devon, I mean, it looked more like an exorcism. Like Elena was exorcising a lie that had been consuming her. I could see it all over her face. I could see it all over her physicality. And I actually had so much sympathy for her. I think because I know she did a bad thing, but in that moment, she was trying to make it right. She was trying to do the right thing after doing a bad thing, which not everybody does. I mean, she was trying to tell Devon what had happened, and that made me connect with her. But as I was watching her explain herself, I was also watching Devon. And I could see Devon's wheels turning. She's going on and on about how exhausted they were that night. And she was all just so confusing. And I'm looking at Devon's face. And in that moment, I could tell that what Devon was hearing wasn't as much we slept together as it was Nate took advantage of my girlfriend. Devon just got up, walked away from Elena. He stumbled out of the hotel room. He went downstairs, and we saw this really great shot of him, by the way, taking the elevator downstairs where we were seeing him from behind. And as the elevator doors opened up and he sees Nate standing there, and he's on the hunt. Devon takes one look at Nate and unleashes the fist and the fury. Ugh, that was such a good moment. And not for nothing, I think Y&R did a pretty good job of filming that punch. We know coronavirus, but I think they did a good job under the circumstances. We saw Devon go in for the lunge. We saw kind of a quick shot of his fist, and then we cut really quickly to Nate, who was already in motion, falling to the floor, taking the entire table with him, and crushing his hand on all of the broken glass. I was so glad just to see Nate finally do something. Even if it was take a punch. Even if it was Devon rearranging his incredibly pretty face. I was just happy to see him doing something. Devon was so out of character there. I actually found Devon to be very appealing and very fascinating in that moment as a soap opera character. Because Devon so rarely loses his cool. He kind of reminds me of Neil in that way. He's got it together for the most part. And then I was blown away by the great connection that was made later in the week when Lily was relating Neil's experience when Devon and Hilary cheated together on him while he was blind. And Lily was saying that infidelity sent Dad into a tailspin, and I don't want that to happen to you. Gosh, I hadn't made that connection on my own at all. I completely forgot about that. It's a decent point, but I don't think it resonated with Devon. I think Devon sees it as two totally different things. He and Hilary were in love. But with Nate and Elena, it's Devon's impression that it wasn't love. It was just a hookup. I'm not so sure about that, though. I think there's more. There may not yet be love, but I think there was more. Maybe it would be easier for Devon to accept what had happened if he believed it was just sex, if it was just a hookup. I think that there's an extra twist of the knife if Devon thought for a moment that there was more going on between them. And I think that there is. Yes, very out of character for Devon, but I think really Devon punching Nate was just Y&R's way of giving us one good punch of drama for the day. I think Devon is definitely going to pull it back. I don't see this sending him into a tailspin, but Devon is always so reasonable that it was strange to see him acting so rash and so unreasonable. That made it fascinating and fun for me this week. Oh. But more than anything, the fact that Devon would physically attack Nate, it says to me how deep this betrayal feels for Devon. I don't think Devon has ever experienced a betrayal like this. Devon went through a whirlwind of trials and tribulations with Hilary, but she never cheated on him. It's the one thing that she never did. And now Devon is struggling to understand how that could happen. Why would Elena and Nate do such a thing? How could he have betrayed him in this way? And Elena has tried her best to do some explaining, but the fact is she doesn't really have a good explanation. I'm not sure Elena really even knows what happened because she hasn't offered all that much by way of explanation. Elena has mostly just been repeatedly repentant. Elena's mostly just been begging Devon and whimpering with Devon and hoping that he takes pity upon her to forgive her. Oh, and she looked so miserable, didn't she? She just looked heartbroken and like she hated herself, and that got my sympathy. That broke my heart. There's just something about when someone knows they messed up. They know they did wrong. That's when my heart goes out to them. And I don't know, I guess it's weird that I'm having so much sympathy for the cheater, because I'm sure that I'm having the opposite reaction from pretty much every other Y&R fan out there right now. But I really think it's just because the way the situation has developed and the way it all went down and the way it's all going down now, I feel like I'm seeing Elena at her weakest. And that tells me who she really is. Seeing someone at their weakest point and what they do at their weakest point is what tells you who they really are. Anybody can make a mistake, but Elena was pretty fast to admit it. In the scheme of soap opera, Elena admitted it pretty quickly. In fact, she admitted it probably faster than I would have wanted her to, or that I would have ever thought she would. And look, at the end of the day, I cannot blame Elena for being attracted to basically the hottest guy in town. At the end of the day, that is a big, big factor for me, because I love Devon. You know I love Devon. But I might leap over Devon for a chance to sleep with Nate. The other factor here is also simply that I feel the chemistry between Elena and Nate way more than any chemistry I have ever felt between Elena and Devon. I am over the moon for Nate and Elena. They are my new favorite couple on The Young and the Restless. I kid you not. I am glued to my screen every time these two are in the scene together. And I am so anxious for the day when Elena realizes that she didn't just sleep with Nate because it happened and there was all of these emotions over Jared. I am anxious for the day that Elena realizes she slept with Nate because she's in love with Nate and that she wants him just as much as he wants her. I think it says something that she was very concerned about Nate after the punching incident and after she saw how bad his hand injury was. After Devon punched Nate, Phyllis immediately called the paramedics because Nate was like bleeding all over her hotel. I feel like Phyllis was more like, ew, can somebody come clean this up? This sliced hand situation is just giving me the skeeves. And it does, by the way. Every time I see Nate's hand, I get this feeling of skeeves. Ugh, broken glass in his hand. Ooh. Ugh. But Elena chose to follow the ambulance to the hospital rather than go looking for Devon. She could have gone out searching for Devon, but she didn't. She wanted to make sure that Nate was okay, which he's not. He is a surgeon who now has nerve damage to his hand. His entire career may be destroyed now, in addition to the destruction of his family and his personal life. See, this is where Nate's character finally starts getting some stuffing too. Right along with Elena, we're seeing the stuffing getting filled out. And this is where I'm finally discovering who Nate really is. I want to see him feel. I want to see him cry. I want to see him continue to plead with Elena. I'm definitely connecting with him above and beyond the sexual connection that I've already shared. I'm developing an emotional connection to him too. I mean, he has paid the price for what he has done, and he accepts this as karma. Karma, he thinks, is serving him justice for what he did to Devon. The surgeon who can no longer use his hand because he couldn't keep his hands off of a woman? That is poetic justice. That is like some kind of Greek tragedy or something right there. Ugh, so good. And I can feel Nate wanting to salvage something. He wants to salvage something from the ashes. He doesn't want it all to be bad. He told Elena that he's desperate even just to talk to her about what happened. I was feeling him when he was saying, can we talk about it, please? He's got no one. He was alone dealing with the secret as much as she was. And he told Elena, please, can we talk? Because this meant something to him. He realized that he had been fighting his feelings for her for a very long time, and he loves her. He didn't say that, but he does. He loves her so much that he would be willing to sacrifice his position at the clinic when that clinic may be the only job he has left. If he can no longer perform surgeries at the hospital, then the clinic may be the only place he could have been, and he was willing to give that up for her. Because he wanted her to be there. Because he wanted her to be able to continue to do her work and follow her passions for her career. But Elena's not there yet. She's not returning those feelings yet. She only sees the sex that they had as, sex, and also a betrayal of Devon. So anytime Nate has tried to talk to her about it, she kind of runs away. By the way, there was this really bizarre moment where Nate and Elena were both standing in the exam room, and she walked out on him, but she walked out and through the third wall. Did anybody else notice that? Nate was standing in the doorway and Elena was standing on the interior of the room with the exam table in between them. And then the conversation got a little too uncomfortable for Elena and she walked out and past the camera and away. I was like, where did she go? The exam room has 2 doors now. The other thing I have to appreciate about Elena is when Devon asked her to leave, she left. She accepted his decision and she accepted her punishment. She packed up her stuff. She left the penthouse and she didn't try to argue too hard against what Devon's final wishes were. And Devon's final wishes were that he didn't even want to look at her. He doesn't even want to look at her face. He didn't make her get out right then and there. He let her stay the night, but then he said, you go pack your stuff in the morning. Ooh. And he didn't change his mind overnight either. Devon has no plans of forgiving Elena right now. Seems like Devon immediately started putting all of his extra attention onto Amanda. He even asked Amanda to come along with him on a business trip. Now, I have been rooting for Devon and Amanda and a romance between them since the very day that Michelle Morgan came back, but I was so glad that she turned that trip down. I want Amanda and Devon to be friends on the up and up first, and then we can start working on more. But I was really, really impressed with her. I thought Amanda turning Devon down on the business trip was so smart. And I loved how blunt she was about it too. She said to Devon, I'm not trying to stick it to Elena and Nate right now. I don't need a mess. She's got other things to focus on. She is not trying to fill a gap here. She's not trying to take advantage of the situation in any way, and she doesn't want the appearance of that. That's where Amanda is so much different from Hilary. I mean, Amanda's a lawyer. She's very concerned about probably how things look on paper. And the fact that she's very aware of that is so smart. She knows that if Amanda and Devon are going away on a business trip together, it's gonna get a reaction. And it's also going to further validate any fears that Elena had about Devon and Amanda. So they just went out to dinner instead, but that Elena is going to be running into them having dinner next week or something. Devon is officially helping Amanda with her identity search, and Amanda got a letter from her private investigator on Friday, pretty much confirming that Rose was not her mother, her and Hilary's mother. I don't know where that part of the story is going, unless it's going to lead to the reveal that Amanda is Hilary. I'm not putting too much theory on anything that could be going down plot-wise there. I really feel like I was far more interested in the relationship dynamics right there. I was more cued into the fact that Devon had casually made his way into Amanda's hotel room for the first time by the end of the week. Did you notice that? That's what had my attention. Devon was in Amanda's hotel room for the first time this week. That happened fast. It did. It was fast. They are friends now. Plus more in the future. I have a feeling that Devon is going to be spending a whole lot of time in Amanda's hotel room in the future. Devon will be spending a lot of time in Amanda's hotel room, while Elena is going to be spending a whole lot of time in Lola's apartment. Yay! Lola invited Elena to move in with her. I think that adorable apartment above the coffee house needs to be seen, and it's totally perfect for two single gals. It's gonna be like Lola and Elena's Nice Girls Clubhouse. It's the Nice Girls Clubhouse. That's right, I still consider Elena a nice girl. Having sex with the hottest guy in town only raised my opinion of her, okay? Oh. And I love Friends. I loved Nick and Nate being friends this week, and I loved Elena and Lola being friends. I had no idea they were friends before. I don't remember them ever even interacting before, but now they're moving in together. Okay, I'm fine. I'm happy about it. I just want to see the cute apartment. Plus, Elena needs a girl to talk to, a good girl to talk to. And Lola saw how distraught Elena is. I mean, you could see it from space. But also, apparently, there are some very gossipy waiters at society these days. These waiters overheard all the scoop about what's going on with Elena and Devon's relationship post the gala. I'll tell you right now, that is enough to make me never want to dine at society. Seriously? Mind your own business, waiters. Don't be eavesdropping on my conversations and spreading it around town. How dare you? I just wonder if Lola's wait staff are also gossiping about how totally pregnant Elena already is. I mean, the wait staff's got the scoop. They probably already know that she's pregnant. I mean, I've been meaning to say this for the past 2 weeks, but Elena has been holding her stomach a lot. Ugh. Sorry, my Skype rang. I have been getting non-stop political calls. Non-stop. It is like 24/7. I forgot to mute it. How dare they? Don't talk to me about the state of the country. I need to talk about the state of Elena's pregnancy. I have my priorities and you have yours. Oh, but I mean, kind of loud. I've been waiting 2 weeks to say this. I should have said it 2 weeks ago. I'm embarrassed that I didn't. But Elena has been holding her stomach a whole lot. I mean, everywhere she goes, every time she cries, there's little moments where she's holding her stomach, and I don't know if it's a coincidence. I kind of like the idea that maybe the actress just knows what she's doing and just knows that all she has to do is touch her stomach a little bit, and that will be enough to drive the fans crazy with speculation. It's true. It's true. I wish I would have mentioned it before, but watch for it now if you haven't seen it. She's constantly touching or holding her stomach. I don't even think that Elena is going to be living with Lola for long. Don't even worry about it, Elena. Don't even worry about the living situation. You're pregnant. Everything's going to be fine. You'll either be living back at the penthouse with Devon, or you'll be moving into the clinic with Nate, because that's where he lives. The New Hope Clinic is literally where Nate eats, sleeps, and has the best sex of his life. It's all done right there at that tiny little New Hope Clinic. Elena and Nate could just move in there together. They could raise their family right there. Like, Nate and Elena can sleep together in the exam room. Then their children can sleep in the stock room, and then the family room could become the lobby. I can't help but feel that maybe that's the vision Nate has in his mind. That's his end goal. Just him and Elena and their babies living there at the New Hope Clinic. Occasionally opening the door to let a patient in. I mean, the way that he is longingly staring at that freaking exam table. Now that I've gotten a closer look at it, they moved it. When the actual sex scene took place, it was all shadows and sexy and intriguing and mysterious and candlelight. But then they moved that exam table into the middle of the room so that the actors could stay on opposite sides. And I got a close look at it, and now I can't unsee it. Like, in the cold light of day, Nate, you need to get a reality check about that exam table and how sexy and romantic and longing it is. Because I am telling you right now, the only thing more uncomfortable than having sex on an exam table would be dying in an uncomfortable chair. I realized this week that I have internalized Dina's death as my own. And that's why I've had the reaction that I've had toward her death. Because as she was dying, I was imagining that I was dying. And all I could think was, my God, I'm dying here. Can someone prop me up on the couch and bring me a fur blanket and a cup of tea? It's the least you could do. But I am in the minority here. I asked you guys last week if you were satisfied with the way that Y&R handled Dina's death. 62% of you said yes. You think Y&R did a good job? This was successful on their part. I just so happen to be in the minority with the other 38% of you. I can't help it. The flashbacks of Dina that we saw this week, and the Abbotts just sitting together, talking, remembering Dina, opening up about the complicated feelings that they had about this complicated woman. To me, that was better than the entire Friday episode, to be perfectly honest. All of the emotions and all of the feelings about Dina's death are so easy to connect to. That's the part where I have no problem connecting. I feel sad. I feel grievous over Dina's death. And watching Jack stand there as the coroner was driving away and walking back into the house, realizing for the first time that his mother is no longer in it. That was incredible and something I could so easily identify with. That's a moment that you're going to experience when a loved one dies in the home like that. But strangely, that didn't stop him from plopping right down on her death throne. Plopping right down there to have a glass of brandy. I mean, no kidding. He had no problem sitting right down there in the chair she just died on. Is it me? Is that weird? I feel like I would avoid that chair for at least the next couple of weeks. And unless that thing was like a throne from the family dynasty, I'm sending it to Goodwill. I don't even want to see that chair again. He just plops right down in it, has a drink. I don't know, I can't connect with that. That I cannot connect to. What I can also connect with, though, was the fact that at first, the girls, like Tracy, Ashley, Abby, they were ready to jump into action and start making arrangements for Dina's funeral, which I thought maybe we were going to see this week, but we didn't. But it's so relatable to me to have that desire to just jump in and do something. Just do something, plan something to occupy your mind so that you're not thinking about what just happened, like so that you don't have a total breakdown. I get that. But I also thought it was wonderful when Jack said to the girls, hey, can we make arrangements tomorrow? Right now, I just want to remember my mother. Oh. Great moment. I mean, there's lots of great moments in all of this. Parts of the plot I would have certainly changed, but great little moments in all of this. And great moment from Jack. A lot of wonderful performances from everyone in the Abbott family. Did you think we were going to see a funeral this week? I certainly did. Maybe next week? I'm not sure. Leaving the arrangements until tomorrow and leaving the phone calls until tomorrow meant, though, that Theo had to find out that Dina had passed away purely because he just so happened to bump into Kyle at the Grand Phoenix Hotel. Kyle told Theo about Dina like it was a side note, like it was some business colleague of Theo's, not a grandmother. It was my understanding that Theo had become close with Dina before her death, and she was the only living connection to his father. And he was offended as I was that he was left out of the loop, like he wasn't a part of the family. Jack invited Theo into the family, made a big production of it, and then Jack left Theo out when it mattered the most. I'm not ashamed to say, though, that my first thought when I saw Theo on Monday was, oh, good. Y&R left him out on purpose. Okay, he wasn't in the Dina's death episode, but it wasn't because of neglect. He was left out on purpose. So that makes it okay for me as a viewer in a way. It's like it doesn't right the wrong, but what it gives me as a viewer is a reason to root for Theo, because now Theo has a real bone to pick, and I think I'm going to enjoy seeing him pick it. Jack did have one good idea, though, this week. One really good idea. Actually, no, it was a joint idea between Jack and Lauren. Rather than buying or selling or stealing the teardrop of love all over again, Jack decided to contact a master jeweler, and he and Lauren had the main teardrop of love stone broken up to create 5 additional pieces. The stone was so big that they were able to chip off some parts of it and make 5 additional pieces, like a matching set. A little something for everyone in the Abbott family, a little takeaway, a little memento. Lauren gets to keep the main stone, but there was a necklace, a bracelet, a set of cufflinks, a money clip, and some earrings, and, you know, just to spread the curse around. The curse of the main necklace wasn't enough. We're chipping off other pieces and spreading it around. At the end of the day, that makes me think that Theo got off scot-free. He's safe. Because, you know, he's left out of the whole gifting of the pieces of the necklace. So I guess it's for his own good. I counted 5 new pieces of jewelry in that box and 5 Abbotts standing in the living room. Ashley, Tracy, Abby, Jack, Kyle. 5 and 5. So presumably, that means that Theo gets nothing. Even though Theo's father was a child of Dina's. I mean, we went through the process here. We found the other Dina child. But now, we'll just not think about that. Theo's father was a direct descendant of Dina's, and which, by the way, is exactly the same as Jack and Ashley and Tracy, but Theo gets nothing. I'm sure that Kyle is going to enjoy having his teardrop of love money clip in his pocket. And maybe they can just let Theo take home some scraps from the kitchen. Grandma Glow is back with all her pomp and all her pizzazz. Yeah, looking good, good. That sequin jacket. All sequined jacket. Nobody could pull that off but Glow. Nobody can pull off all sequins unless you're at a formal wear, and even then. If you're at a formal event, maybe, but it takes a real bold broad to pull off a jacket made of all sequins. And she also had something on that seemed like it had some fur on it. Another jacket with some like fur zebra print imprints on it. Oh my gosh, she's so gaudy, fabulous. I love it. And is it a coincidence, I ask you, that Gloria and Jack bump into each other at the park just after Dina has passed, just after Jack has said that he feels that this is the beginning of a new chapter for him? He had a dream about Dina. Side note, Jack is in love with his mother. He's in love with Dina. There's a part of me that thinks that Jack wishes he would have just found a woman like Dina to love, because in his dream he was dancing with her. It's like he's romantic. Jack romanticizes everything, so why not his mother too? But he had a dream he was dancing with Dina, and she was happy, and she told him that John is also proud of him. Apparently John also told Dina to tell Jack, "Go ahead, sleep with Gloria, I don't mind." Whoa! That's what I heard him say. You might not have heard it, but I heard that. Jack does have a penchant for his father's wives, so yeah. I love that Jack finally also mentioned Gloria's disappearance at Jabot. She was there in the lobby for a long time, and then one day she was just gone. Went out for coffee, never came back. And I liked that Y&R worked that into the writing a little bit, because Jack mentioned that Gloria just left one day, left him in the lurch. Okay, so now we know what happened to Gloria. But yet we don't. We don't know what happened to Gloria, do we? Because Gloria is throwing out some talk about a big Hollywood job that she's been working. She's making movies. She is meeting celebrities. And no one is buying this for one moment. Nobody's buying it. And the more that Gloria talks about how she's just in town because she's lonely, she's feeling a little homesick, wants to see the grandbaby, but everything else in her life is fabulous, the more she goes on about it, the more nobody buys it. Kevin was the first one to be instantly suspicious, and I keep thinking back to the Baldwin-Fisher family week during the classic episode airings, and it just reminds me that Kevin, above all else, should know Gloria's tells, and he can tell when Gloria is lying about something or hiding something or has gotten herself into a jam, because Kevin has been right there with Gloria trying to get her out of so many jams. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, Michael too, really. Michael has had his glowdar finely tuned over the course of his lifetime, and he was suspicious of Gloria too. But Michael's the district attorney now. So he's got something more to lose, something maybe a little more valuable than in the past, or a little more different in the past. Michael has to walk a different line than he had to in the past. I'm sure Michael's gonna be up late at night grinding his teeth, trying to anticipate what it is that his mother has gotten himself into this time. But it can't be a coincidence that she mentioned that both of her sons work in and around the law. Michael's district attorney. Kevin works, I guess, still does some jobs for the GCPD. And I don't know what she is up to, but my jaw dropped. Absolutely dropped when we saw Gloria creep down the Chancellor Mansion staircase, probably trying real hard to avoid the creaky step so nobody would see her. And then she just comes out into this dimly lit room and she unravels something out of her bra. Pause. Gloria stashed something in her bra. And then she pulls it out, twists it around her fingers just so. Oh gosh, it was so intriguing. It was one of the most intriguing moments that I've seen on the show in a week or a month or a year or more. I was fascinated by what on earth Gloria could have stashed inside of her bra. Oh goodness. But she was obviously, whatever it was, looking for a new hiding place for it, because she stashed it away on one of the shelves inside of one of Mrs. C's dusty old jars. Or who knows, I don't know. Maybe it was one of Jill's jars. I am so glad that Summer and Kyle reconciled. I need to see Kyle stay committed to whoever he's with, whoever it is, Summer, Lola, whoever. I need to see him stay committed for at least the next year. I need to see that, or I'm not going to be able to continue to believe a word that comes out of his mouth. While Summer was in disguise, she sees Lola and Kyle talking, and Lola is consoling Kyle over Dina's death because Summer wasn't there to do it. But Summer couldn't hear exactly what they were saying, so I'm sure Summer assumed that Lola was consoling Kyle over the breakup, and Summer just assumes that they're getting back together now, which, to be fair, is what I assumed too. I did not see this reunion coming at all. I thought it was done, and now we're right back to Kyle and Lola. And right after Kyle leaves that scene, Summer made her first reveal to Lola. She said, "I'm back from the dead." How dare you? How dare you? Summer wags her fingers and, about the text messages, and is acting like Lola has been trying to steal Kyle away from her for months now, which is totally not the reality of the situation. Kyle Kyle does need to get some friends, though. He needs some friends so that he can stop running to his ex-wife or wives for support. What happened to the friendship that he had with Mariah? Or how about starting up a new friendship? Maybe Kyle could be friends with Devon or Nate or Ray or Chance. I don't know. He needs a good, strong guy friend to help him stop being such a weenie. Surprisingly, though, Summer just kind of pops up at Jabot after all this. She just pops up out of nowhere, and Kyle out of nowhere is like, "Oh, hey, Summer, it's you. Where have you been? I've been worried sick about you." His reaction to seeing her was strange. I thought, well, wait a minute. To me, it seems like Kyle has been angry with Summer. I think Kyle has been far more worried about himself and how he's doing more than how Summer was doing. But Summer confronted Kyle about everything. The text messages with Lola, the meetings with Lola, the comments that he made on video about opening up his old dating profiles. And then Kyle explains everything, that, you know, it was about Dina's passing. The fact that Dina had passed and realizing that Lola was consoling him over that seemed to diffuse a lot of Summer's anger. And then Kyle also explained that everything he said about the dating profiles was just all show. He was talking a big game so that nobody knew how hurt he really was. But then what about the booty call that he made? That seemed pretty real to me. It seemed to me like Kyle actually was going to go through with trying to hook up with some girl. Maybe he did hook up with some girl. For all I know, he did do the hookup. I hope not. But maybe. Oh, boy. I loved Summer and Kyle's beautiful reunion in the beautiful autumn park. I mean, it was gorgeous. I loved the flashbacks of their love story. I'm just ready to see them be happy for a while. I need them to just stay happy for a while. I need Kyle to please show us some commitment. And I need Summer to not still be paranoid about Lola. She's won. Abby was very sweet this week, talking about her memories of Dina, and we saw that flashback of them just having lunch together. I like that generational gap. I wish that we would have had an opportunity to see more of Abby and Dina together, just shopping and having lunch. I mean, gosh, there are just so many missed opportunities. But Dina's death seems to have made Abby want to double down on her baby-making plan with Chance. And I keep asking myself, is this right? Should Abby and Chance be making a baby? I know that this is not the hottest topic of the week with everything that went down with Nate and Elena and, I mean, my goodness, Sharon and Ray and Adam. But before I go any further, I need to take the temperature of the Y&R chatters on this. Our poll question of the week at yrchat.com. Should Abby and Chance make a baby? Are we just making this leap and everybody's going along with it? Or is anyone else out there going, this seems a little fast? Because I like the idea of having the baby in theory. I like Abby and Chance together, but I also have this nagging feeling that we're rushing things every time they talk about it. I mean, Abby's announcing it to the family already. And it seems to me that it's too soon. And now I'm kind of worried that Abby is doubling down on rushing things because she's grieving Dina's death. I just don't know. I want good things for Abby and Chance. I do. I mean, I don't know. Chance had his inquiry hearing with the GCPD this week, and presumably next week we're going to get those results. But the thing is, I don't know if it's going to be a happy ending for these two on any level. I think that the trouble is just beginning for Chance and for Adam. Because Ray revealed this week that the GCBD is building a case on Adam, and I believe it. And that means that Adam and Chance could be going down. Ray has every reason to want to lock Adam up and throw away the key. The coffee house confrontation between them on Friday was excellent, excellent. I like Adam versus Ray. Adam has a very smug way of getting up under Ray's skin, especially when the talk turns to Sharon. But I also thought that Ray had a really good comeback when he told Adam that Sharon doesn't want a guy like Adam. Why would Sharon want a loser who has no self-control? That's such a Ray thing to say. And it's kind of hard to argue against it right now. Adam has no job. He's got nothing going on. He got rejected by Sharon. I mean, sure, Sharon still has feelings for him, but Sharon chose Ray. And now Adam's lost Chelsea too. Apparently forever. Or until next week when somebody changes their mind. Oh goodness, Chelsea overheard that little conversation between Adam and Ray when Adam was declaring to Ray that he and Sharon will always find a way back to each other. Yeah, I mean, overhearing that, maybe Chelsea should pull the ripcord. Maybe Chelsea should get out of there. Maybe she should finally leave him. What a beautiful scene that was, too, of Chelsea, her face, hearing what Adam was saying, and then she walked into the outside area of Crimson Lights. I don't even know if we've ever seen that before. Not even just the entryway, beyond the entryway, we were on the street in front of Crimson Lights, next to the Genoa City Chronicle newsstand. It was gorgeous, with all of those neon lights highlighting what a fool Chelsea has been. Just gorgeous. What's really more shocking to me, though, is the fact that Adam had the nerve to try to convince Chelsea to stay around, to change her mind, to stay with him. He bothered to try to argue to Chelsea that what she overheard him say was all just bluster, was all just him trying to get up under Ray's skin, and that Chelsea's the one he really wants to be with, don't leave me. Well, Adam was declaring his love for Sharon last week, and then when he couldn't have Sharon, this week he's begging Chelsea to stay. Why? Why does he even need Chelsea at this point then, if Chelsea's just the backup plan? Is he just using Chelsea, wants to keep Chelsea on the hook because she's his only real ally? Well, she was his only real ally. She packed her bags. And I don't know where she's going, but she's gone. She's gone. And from the previews for next week, it looks to me like Adam now wants to be gone. He's telling Nick and Victoria that sounds like he's saying he's leaving town and he just wants them to leave him alone in peace. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet that right after Adam has that conversation with Nick and Victoria to say goodbye, that Ray is going to show up with a pair of handcuffs? No, Adam's going to be saying his goodbye to Victor, and Ray's going to show up with a pair of handcuffs. Yes, that's what's going to happen. Ooh, I'm seeing it now. I think that if Chelsea's gone and Adam gets arrested, this leads into the fact that there's only one person left in this town who Adam hasn't completely alienated, and that's Sharon. Sharon's the only one left. And Sharon loves injured animals. She's going to see Adam's little broken wing, and she's going to pick it up, and she's going to try to nurse him back to health. She's going to rush right over to the jail to offer Adam her support. You know it. She'll probably testify on when he goes to trial for whatever the charges are. I don't know. Who knows? Pick something. All I know is that Sharon and Ray aren't going to happen. I mean, at the way the writing is on the wall about all of this, Sharon is going to be kissing Adam on the stroke of midnight on New Year's. Sharon and Ray's New Year's Eve wedding, although I want it to happen, will never happen. Oh, Sharon gets to tell Nick and Mariah and Faith this week the good news that she is cancer-free. I mean, what a wonderful bit of news to be able to share with your family. And everyone, of course, is elated. But you can see immediately that Faith is skeptical. The types of questions that she's asking of Sharon, it's telling me that she doesn't believe it, that it sounds too good to be true, and that she is in a state of expecting the worst. She's waiting for the other shoe to drop. And why not? It always seems to. In fact, while everyone was celebrating Sharon's medical breakthrough, Faith was sneaking away off to a corner of the house to send a text message to her friend that her family's driving her crazy. She has got to get out of this house. And then she sneaks out of the house when no one's looking. Sharon had asked her even if she wanted to have a little mommy-daughter time. Watch a little movie, have a little popcorn, be together, snuggle up on the couch. Sounds so good. And Faith doesn't want to do it. She turns Sharon down. She uses her perception, the perception of her, that she's always the responsible one. And she tells Sharon, no, you should get some rest. Let's all get some rest and we'll celebrate tomorrow. Faith knows how people see her and perceive her, and she used it to get Sharon off her back, and then she snuck out to meet Jordan in the park. Faith is really skilled. Ooh, she's really good at being sneaky and smart. I mean, she dodged an inquiry from Mariah before she actually ultimately ended up getting caught. It was a pretty good technique that she was using to get out of it. Even saying, I'm supposed to be here. Oh, you want to call my parents? She hands Mariah the phone. It was really good. And then Faith was also really good at dodging Nick's punishment after she actually did get caught. She told Nick, oh, do you really want to tell Mom about this? We don't want to disturb her in her sleep. We'll just keep this to ourselves, you know? I mean, very, very good. Faith really, honestly, could have gotten away with it all, too, if it weren't for Billy, of all people. I mean, who'd have thought that? Of all people, Billy was the one who actually ended up spoiling another one of her plans. Gosh, hope Faith isn't going to attack Billy or something. Maybe jump out from under a table and gnaw his throat out like a wild animal. Oh, that'd be good for Halloween. Yeah, I guess Billy just so happened to be strolling through the park one night and happened to notice Faith hanging out there with some older girl. He goes to the coffee house. He tells Mariah all about it. And Mariah is able to, bring Faith in and tattle on her to Nick. But not before Mariah made sure to let Billy know that this is ultimately all his fault. Oh, I'm not going to lie. I think that Mariah was coming off a little bit preachy in that scene. But I did like her line about how Billy was just picking over Adam's scraps. That was a good line. It went on a little too long. Like, all right, Mariah, why is Billy even standing here listening to this? It's like, all right. But, I mean, there was all fair points. And I really wonder what's next for Billy, because as Mariah was talking, I don't know, Billy had this look in his eye, like, all of the disapproval and all of the nagging over the Adam story is making him question whether or not he wants to continue on this path. I mean, that's a good thing if that's true. Because the thing is, if Billy's biggest beef with Adam is how much Adam has hurt people, then surely Billy, if he has any shred of self-awareness has got to be realizing that his actions as of late are hurting people too. Namely, Faith. Maybe Billy will just shift all of his forward momentum right on over to Lily. It seems to be the way the wind is blowing. I mean, what was up with that preview? Billy was asking Lily if she was just about to kiss him? I don't know. This brings new meaning to the term working closely together. I don't know. I wonder what Amanda will think about all of this. I mean, there's a lot of people out there still holding out hope for Billy and Amanda, and I wonder if Amanda will use her powers of perception to also figure out that something's going on there between Billy and Lily. And if so, would Amanda be jealous? I don't know. Amanda is one perceptive cookie. She knew that something was going on with Nate and Elena. I mean, she figured it out way before Devon did. I mean, she was picking up on it when nobody else was. So she's bound to pick up on what's going on at ChanceCom. Oh, I know there's still so many people wanting that Billy and Amanda hookup, but I don't know. I don't really want to see Amanda and Lily fighting over Billy. Amanda and Lily are just becoming friends. Which is a nice twist, I think, since Lily and Hilary were bitter enemies. Well, until the end, when they became deathbed friends. Hey, I thought that Amanda was still trying to decide whether or not she ever even wanted to continue to work at ChanceCom. She was saying she wasn't sure if she was even going to be able to tolerate working with Lily, knowing that Lily killed Hilary. And now they're friends. And I'd like to see them stay friends. I'd like to see Lily eventually give Amanda her blessings to be with Devon. I mean, I think that Lily giving Amanda her blessing to be with Devon would be kind of telling, because Lily refused to give Hilary her blessing to be with Devon. Not that they needed it, not that it really matters, but I think it would be a pretty good plot twist to instead see Lily and Amanda remain friends. I mean, for crying out loud, they're already making heads and tails above where Lily and Hilary were. Hilary would never have trusted Lily's opinion on which pair of shoes go best with her dress. DNA is not necessarily destiny. That could apply to Amanda and Hilary, too. Just because they're sisters doesn't necessarily mean that they'll fall in love with the same man. But they will. And also, that line had nothing to do with Amanda. DNA is not necessarily destiny was our quote from last week. It was Victor who said that line. Ashley was very concerned about the fact that she might develop Alzheimer's too. It's hereditary. And Victor was very quick to assure her that DNA is not necessarily destiny. Very good line, very good moment. And Sandra, Henry, Jamie, Tony, Tommy, Victoria, Daisy, and Ambreen, you all guessed it right. Oh, how about a fun quote for the week? Who said this? I wear a lot of hats. I wear a lot of hats. Who said it? If you think you know, then why don't you go to yrchat.com and leave your guess. If you get it right, I will give you your hats off in next week's Y&R Chat. Always so hard for me to pick a Who Said It quote because there are always runners up. Here's one. Love is more than just what you say. It's the things that you do. Devon said that to Amanda about Elena. I thought that was a good line. Love is more than just what you say. It's the things you do. Elena was saying how much she loves Devon, and yet she slept with Nate. Good moment. Another one. I don't like to drink my arugula. That was Kevin said to Chloe when she offered him one of Esther's famous famous smoothies. Remember the days when Esther had her health kick and we saw that all the time, and it was always a little bit of a thorn in everyone's side in the Chancellor Mansion, like, ugh, could Esther please get off of the health kick and give us some good food? Another good line, consider yourself hugged. Aww, who said that? Consider yourself hugged. It was Mariah. She was saying that to Faith. It's kind of appropriate for the coronavirus era. Faith had gotten in trouble, but Mariah wanted to reassure Faith that she was still loved. But we are unfortunately right now unable to give hugs, so it had to be a consideration of a hug. Just pretend. Consider yourself hugged. All right. Let's get to your comments for the week, starting with T. Nicole, who says, does anyone else think that Lily feels the same way Billy feels about her? I'm wondering if the attraction between them is weighted more heavily on Billy's end. Ooh, that is the question, T. Nicole, isn't it? It's pretty clear that Billy is doing his charming, I kind of want to hook up with Lily thing, but I don't know how to read Lily. I'm not sure exactly where her head is at, and maybe next week will tell. We'll see. That preview seems to imply that we're going to make a little progress on this. Daisy says, I don't even like any hint that Lily and Billy will end up together. They are so wrong for each other. I'd love, though, to see Daniel Goddard return as Kane Ashby. And any possible relationship between Billy and Lily will be undermined and thwarted by Kane. I always see Daniel Goddard and Brighton James doing social media stuffs because I guess they have an app or something that they've developed together. I should probably have gotten more information on it, but I didn't. But I always see them together, and I wonder if, who knows, maybe Brighton is secretly pulling to get Daniel back on the show behind the scenes. It is possible, and you're right that a good time for Kane to come back would be right as Lily's getting into a relationship with Billy. And as we heard last week, a little bit of a filling in some blanks of the past, I mean, Billy and Lily might have had a longer relationship the first time if it weren't for Kane. ... and Chloe. Well, Superplex, who I know is rooting for this relationship, says, Lily is taking her high and mightiness attitude a little too far. I'm really hoping that Billy, in the course of their relationship, takes her down a notch just to instill a little humility. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I feel like Lily has had some pretty good moments of humility lately, but she most certainly is cracking the whip pretty hard with Billy. I thought you were liking that. You think she needs to pull it back a little bit more now, I see. I think she will. I think any good soap opera couple, any good soap opera relationship, there has to be an evolution of the individual over time as they, kind of learn from the partner. I think I could see that. I mean, maybe Billy needs to be a little more serious and Lily needs to be a little more relaxed, and who knows, maybe the in-between will meet for both of them. Also, Superplex says, any day with Lauren and Gloria in it is a good day. Yes, I know. It was so great seeing Lauren and Gloria all in the same day. I'm just loving it. And Ellen says, what did Gloria put in that vase? A key? Ooh, Helen, I didn't think about that. She pulled something out and kind of wrapped it around her finger, and a key could have been tied to that. What is it? Ooh, it's probably a key that goes to a safety deposit box, which has a photo in it, which Gloria needs to give to Jack so that Jack can find out who his real mother is. That's my guess. Or maybe it's an old home movie. I don't know what's in the box. No, what's in the vase is a really good question. A key. You might be right, because it almost looked like some hosiery or something, the way she pulled it out and twirled it around her finger. Dang, a key's a good guess. I didn't get that, but you might have. You might have just nailed that. Hey, Laura says, I'm crossing my fingers for Jack and Lauren. And then Michael and Abby. Wait a minute. Pause. Okay, the Jack and Lauren thing, Laura, I can see because it's like Y&R has been sorta winking around Jack and Lauren for quite some time now. And here Jack is having a lot of talk about the new chapter in his life, and he's always talking to Lauren about it. So I can see that being there. And Lauren made the comment about how, oh, the teardrop of love wouldn't be a curse for me and Michael. We've been steady for so long. So, I mean, there's a sense of, maybe. Is it going to be that we know Jack's going to find love? Is he going to find some love with Lauren? Or is he going to find some love with Gloria? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I don't want Lauren and Michael to break up. No way, no how. Is there any chance that Christian LeBlanc doesn't want to be on the show as much? And they're shopping for a new man for Lauren? Or maybe he does want to be on the show and you're suggesting that he should hook up with Abby. Michael and Abby? That's a funny combo. Well, Laura also says Abby and Chance together is an overload of super sweet college preppy side part hair. Hold on. Abby and Chance together is an overload of super sweet college preppy side part hair. They look like brother and sister or something. College preppy for sure. Oh, that's a pretty good summary of how they sort of look together. I don't know. I guess I could go other way. Y&R sold me on it. But the fact that you think they look like brother or sister, now I might not be able to unsee that. So thanks for ruining it for me, Laura. Hey, this is funny too. Diana says, Allie, I thought it was so funny when you were talking about Chance's feet the other week. I felt the same way. It was too much feet to be showing us. Now when I look at him, I still imagine seeing them. I really don't want that image in my head. Oh my gosh, Diana, that's so funny because I had that follow-up thought again this week. We never see people's feet on the show, and Chance has such huge, they're not bad feet in any way. Like, his feet are not unattractive. They were just so huge, and I'm so not used to seeing bare feet on the show that it was like, whoa, Chance's feet are in this scene. And then this week again, Chance and Abby are in her hotel suite, and even though his feet weren't out, he was sitting in that same chair while she was kind of on the bed or on the opposite side of the bed. And I just thought to myself, they were getting ready to, do the deed, and I thought to myself, is he about to bust out his feet again? Oh my gosh, same thought. Cannot stop thinking about Chance's feet now. That's funny. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Oh boy, we got to get into this topic right here. So Ambreen says, so Adam's past is affecting the launch of Chelsea's fashion line. Well, Chelsea, you did the same thing to Nick when he had to quit his political campaign last year. Now you know how it feels, huh? I think it's cool to have a fashion designer on the show, but it looks like that won't happen. Ooh, okay. Ooh, Ambreen, I cannot believe how good of a point that is. That Adam has ruined Chelsea's fashion career, which is the exact same thing she did to Nick's political career. Oh my gosh. I wish, in a way, that Y&R just would have left Nick and Chelsea together then, so we could have saved Nick's political career. If all of everything we went through with Connor and Chelsea having to move into the condo to help Connor recover, and in the process found her love with Adam, which by the way happened too quick. I mean, if all that was just gonna go away in a couple months down the road, then why'd we even do it? Why didn't we just leave Chelsea and Nick together? I guess because then we wouldn't have Nick and Phyllis, which I still think is better. But I mean, gee, it's all very quick. Chelsea was quick to get back with Adam. So I guess it makes sense that they were quick to break up. Goodness me. But yeah, I think Chelsea's going to have nothing to do but get back to her fashion business. Maybe she's going to hire Miss Sally Spectra and get it going. Diana says, I felt so bad for Chelsea when she overheard Adam expressing his undying love for Sharon to Ray at the coffee house. I can just imagine how she felt in that moment. She was so shocked and devastated. I could really feel her pain when she was telling Adam how hard it was to listen to him talking about another woman that way. Chelsea doesn't deserve that treatment from Adam. He is so lucky to have her on his side. I really liked them as a couple, and I'm disappointed to see them broken up. I hope Chelsea remains on the show, as I really like her character. I hope Y&R is not replacing her with Sally Spectra. I hope Y&R pairs Chelsea with someone else. Ooh, they have to. They have to. But I don't think they're going to replace... You think Adam and Sally? No. Wow. That'd be interesting, too. But yeah, I love your empathy for Chelsea, and I love that you're representing the fans who are saying, oh, wait a minute. It was supposed to be Adam and Chelsea, the true love forever story. Where'd that go? Gosh. Flip-flopping. Gary says, Chelsea overhearing Adam and Ray chatting about Adam's great love of Sharon was mind-blowing and kind of hilarious. Chelsea was only stopping by Crimson Lights to pick up some muffins. Wow! Yeah, she did get an earful there. Stop by to get some muffins, and what you got was the end of your relationship. And so it goes in Soapland. TB84 says, you go, Chelsea. I would kick Adam in the butt if I were you a long time ago. Sorry, not sorry. No, I know. I wouldn't have gone back to him after he tried to push me away the first time. When he was going through his issues with Sharon, I think I would have let him go. I just would have. Alan says, Adam, again, running around town with no plan, no thought behind what you're doing, running your mouth, and so disrespectful to Chelsea. You must finish one relationship before you try to start another one. You can't do this to Connor's mother. Just stop. Will the real Adam Newman please return to Genoa City? The Harvard graduate, the strategist, the person who uses his brain, not just raw emotion. I miss that Adam. This current Adam is reckless and aimless. Chelsea heard you declare your intention to be with Sharon, and what did you expect? Chelsea deserved the truth from you. Chelsea, out. Ugh, yeah. I miss that Adam too, to be honest with you. I don't think we've had him in a while. That version of Adam was so nuanced. It is hard to understand exactly where Adam's head is now. But I love, how did you describe it? You want reckless and aimless. Aimless is also a really good point. It's like, where are you going? What do you want? It changes every week. And I want to connect with Adam. But I need something more than who's he going to hook up with. I agree with, who was it? I think it was Diana last week that said, gee, it would be nice to maybe see Adam, start up a new company or go back to school or something. I just think that these writers really, they just don't take a lot of time with character development. I think the show is in a very plot-driven place right now. In a lot of ways, that was good. The plot this week was fantastic. I mean, there was a lot of drama, a lot of fun stuff that went on, but Adam is a good example of a character who could really use something more, a little something more on the side, something to tell me who he is, something to tell me what he wants. Astra says, okay, so I was never a Nick and Sharon fan when they were together, but I do like them as friends. But today, when Adam was going on about the great love he and Sharon had, and that she would never love Ray the way she loved Adam, I couldn't help but think Adam got himself mixed up with Nick. I remember the Adam and Sharon romance being intense for a short time, but she had the most intense up and down love of her life story with Nick. Now, if Adam were saying that stuff about Chelsea, I would buy it. I just don't like them showing the Adam and Sharon inevitable romance. I don't like them shoving the Adam and Sharon inevitable romance down our throats just because the couple are there together in real life. It does feel like that, though, doesn't it, Astra? That it's just because the couple's together in real life. And I would agree. I was a big Adam and Sharon fan, but I feel like if we're talking the longer term love of your life kind of story. That does seem to belong more to Nick and Sharon, and I thought it belonged more to Adam and Chelsea. But since they cast this version of Adam, and I think even probably before Mark Grossman and Sharon Case hooked up, it's clear that Y&R wanted to dump Adam and Chelsea and really work on that Adam and Sharon story again. Because right when Mark Grossman got cast, it was Sharon who brought him back from Vegas to Genoa City. It was not Chelsea. So I think that the writer's intention here has probably been clear since, long before the actors hooked up. But I think now that we have the coronavirus situation, I think it's clear that they're wanting even more to push it into that direction. Kamna says, did anyone else notice Chelsea touch her head in her opening scene? Do we think she's going nuts? Or will Adam? The race is on. I don't care, but please just let them get back together and do not mess with the Sharon and Ray wedding. Come on, Y&R. After the year that is 2020, we need a beautiful New Year's Eve wedding. Kamna, yes, I did notice Chelsea touch her head, and I thought to myself, is that a coincidence? Or is Chelsea experiencing some kind of brain issue? Or where are we going with Chelsea exactly? What are the writers going to do with her? And it almost seemed, maybe it's sort of similar to Elena touching her stomach. It could just be the teeniest, tiniest little thing just to give the fans a crumb, to latch on to. But I absolutely noticed that too. And also, oh my gosh, I love your analogy that what we need after this crazy year of 2020 is to end it and begin the new year with a beautiful New Year's Eve wedding. I know, I agree. I just don't think it's going to happen. I feel that the writer's intention is there. It is there for Sharon and Adam, and everything else be damned. Who knows? Maybe Laura has an idea for what's going to happen here on New Year's Eve. Laura says, rats. For a minute there, I thought Sharon and Ray were going to have a Halloween wedding in costume, and just before the ceremony, Adam, wearing an identical costume to Ray, would hit him on the head and knock him out and marry Sharon. That could still happen. Who knows? Sharon could very well be exchanging vows on New Year's Eve. It just might not be with Ray. I think that it is possible that Adam could break up the New Year's Eve wedding, though. That's the thing. We haven't had somebody dramatically burst into a wedding in a long, long time. And I can almost see Adam getting out of jail or something just in time to bust up into that wedding. And boy, that would be kind of an interesting little dramatic moment there, wouldn't it? I don't know. I like Sharon and Ray being happy. Somebody's got to be happy. I don't know that that's where I want my drama. I don't know that I want my drama with Sharon and Ray right now. T. Nicole says, if Sharon gets back together with Adam, I'm scared to think how Faith will act out to that news. From Sharon's perspective, knowing that Faith does not think good of Adam because of what she found out from the article, how would that work if she decides to get back with Adam? How do you explain to Faith that Mommy's dating the guy who switched you at birth? That cannot go well. It is so, so true. And T. Nicole, I hadn't thought of it that way exactly before, but I wonder if that's part of the reason why Sharon sees this relationship with Adam as being so complicated, as she's so quick to say so often. Things with Adam are complicated, and maybe what she is thinking about here is Faith, and the fact that, having a relationship with Adam at all could jeopardize the relationship that she has with her daughter. Or who knows, could push her daughter, who is young and impressionable and at that stage, into a detrimental direction. Mary Ann V says, I'm sure that Nick and Sharon are worried about what's going on with Faith. Don't forget, Cassie was not that much older when she died. I wonder how far they will take this with Faith. Drugs? Attempted suicide? Oh, I don't know. I sure hope not. But boy, what a good point that Faith is not that much younger than Cassie was when she died. So Y&R needs to mention that, Marianne V. That is a really good point. Y&R should make that connection. I didn't hear Nick and Sharon even acknowledge that in any sort of way. Gosh, they should know that now is the stage to really protect their daughter. Because she's just old enough to get her into some adult trouble, but she's not an adult. Goodness. Well, Marianne V also says, I think the whole Dina episode should have had some more Dina in it. And that chair did look very uncomfortable to die on. Well, thank you, Marianne V. Gosh, is it too much to ask to at least die in some relative comfort? Prop me up. At least prop me up or something, for crying out loud. That chair. That chair. But your more important point, too, is that the Dina's death episode should have had more Dina. Victoria voted no, that Y&R did not do a great job on Dina's death. Victoria says, on Friday, I found Dina's death emotional. Dina has been a part of the Y&R family for many years. She was a pivotal character for the Abbott family, and many of the Abbott storylines involved Dina on or off screen. But I would have at least liked to have had at least Friday's episode, half of Friday's episode, to pay her due. I would have preferred to see Dina in her beautiful downstairs room, surrounded by the things which were important to her. Each child could have come in, sat by her bed to say goodbye, and as they spoke, classic memories could have been shown. Dina could speak as a voice in her head, thus leaving them with some sense of her presence and her hope for them. I would include her going to the door to be met by John, her one big regret. She could say, let's do this again, John, and let's do it right. Oh, yeah. Man, more Dina would have been good. More Dina would have been good. Gary says, something that made Dina's death so profound was her physical appearance. When we first saw Dina appear in Jack's dream on that Friday episode, demanding that he find the stolen necklace, we were transfixed. She was so diminished, yet wearing what looked like a beautiful, old-world, pearlized, dusty pink bed jacket in keeping up appearances. Throwing away the glam squad, not that they were on set to go to work, helped to perfect this never-to-be-forgotten goodbye. It may be the best one I've ever seen. Oh, yeah. This is a good point, too, about her physical appearance. Part of what made it a little bit shocking was Dina's physical appearance. Or, as you say, memorable. Yes. Lisa115 says, I thought Dina's death was handled very well under the current circumstances. I agree it was totally unrealistic, but this is a soap. And sometimes it's nice to see things tied up neatly when they rarely would be in real life. Dina went out with dignity and class, and it was a good ending to the story she was given. I liked the character and Marla Adams' portrayal of her, and I wish the story took a different turn. But if Dina was not going to get better, I'm glad Y&R wrapped things up the way they did. Or like they did. Oh, that's one thing that we can certainly agree on, Lisa115. If Dina was not going to get better, I'm glad Y&R wrapped things up like they did. Let's shift gears here. Tina Cole says, this might be an unpopular opinion, but just because Devon and Hilary cheated on Neil, that does not mean that Devon should forgive Elena for cheating on him. It was Neil's choice to forgive Devon and work on their relationship, and now it's Devon's choice of how he wants to feel or handle Elena cheating on him. Yeah, no doubt. That's reasonable, for sure. Jamie says it's completely reprehensible that Devon and Hilary had an affair while she was married to a temporarily blind Neil. However, that was all in Devon, Hilary, and Neil's past. Neil forgave Devon and Hilary for the affair, and they forgave him for the whole Cliff kidnapping incident. None of that history has anything to do with Elena. And it does not grant her or Nate an instant pardon for one or either for cheating. Elena and Nate intrusively pressured Devon to speed up his grieving process for Hilary and his child. They even pushed him to pull all evidence of Hilary and her fabulous things into storage or to be donated to local charities. If I were in Devon's shoes, I'd cut them both out of my life. If there's a baby in his future, cordial co-parenting would be all I could offer Elena. Shelley says, I was screaming at my TV, swearing at Elena. Like, who cheats on a handsome billionaire with a kind heart? Kick her to the curb. Nate deserved more than just a punch. All the people saying that Devon with Hilary when she was married to Devon was with Hilary when she was married to Neil, they were in love before she married Neil. Neil and Devon worked through it. Nate has always had goo-goo eyes for Elena. Oh, well, Daisy has a good counterpoint here saying, Devon didn't even try to work through things. He just threw Elena away. So I don't think that Devon really loved her. Not the way he said he did. And something Elena has likely been thinking about. Ooh. You think that Devon didn't really love Elena the way he said he did. And maybe that's something that's occurring to Elena right now. Daisy also says, when Elena was crying and talking about what she did and how she felt, it all seemed so real. I really felt the character's pain. Brittany Sarpy was fabulous. I hope she wins an award, and she really deserves one. She's such a gifted actress. I also have to add, I like the way Elena looks. I love her cute little curly hair. I just like her. She just seems like somebody I'd probably want to be friends with. Sherrod says, of course Devon is attracted to Amanda. She looks like his true love Hilary, for which I am hoping she turns out to be. But that doesn't mean he didn't love Elena. Yes, some relationships survive infidelity, and for others, it is the death nail. But just because Neil forgave Devon doesn't mean he has to do the same for Elena. No hypocrisy intended. Oh, gosh, love comes in many different forms. I'm not sure that Devon choosing to not forgive Elena negates his love. And I don't think that's what anybody is exactly saying. I think that there's love and there's attraction and then there's going the distance on a relationship. And they're all, they all have their own little, in the Venn diagram, they all kind of, work off to the side of each other, but then meet in the middle for a successful relationship. And I guess, ultimately, Devon's decision is Devon's decision, and whatever he chooses to do is okay by me. But Superplex says Devon is a hothead. He has no capacity to forgive once someone has betrayed him. It is obvious that Elena is filled with remorse for her act and has pleaded incessantly for his mercy. But what does Devon do with this one act of infidelity? He immediately asks her to leave. Do you consider that the actions of a compassionate individual? We should all recall the words of a great writer who once took note of that fact, saying, the quality of mercy is not strained, it droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven. Ooh, Superplex, you're fantastic, because you will give us a comment about Lauren's leather pants, and then you will juxtapose it with some poetry. The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven. Beautiful, beautiful. I also think this is a decent point that Devon is, he doesn't offer his forgiveness very easily. I think once you're on Devon's bad side, he holds on to his grudge. But again, I think a lot of it too is I'm not projecting it as much on Devon the character as I am the state of the show right now. It just seems like everybody's changing their mind every week, and Devon's just no exception. Marianne V says, Nate had eyes for Elena for a long time. She gave in because she was worried about Devon and Amanda getting closer, which now they will. And I think she is truly sorry and loves Devon. But it's too late. Devon's written her off and now is going to get closer with Amanda. When Elena discovers she is pregnant, it will be Devon's, but he will have moved on with Amanda by then. Exactly, Mary Ann V. That, like, if the baby were Nate's, then it would be too cut and dry. Amanda and Devon have to grow closer, and Elena and Nate have to grow closer, and then the baby has to throw a wrench into it all. That's how this is gonna work. Hey, I'm always up for alternate opinions here. Diana says, I don't know how everyone else feels, but I find Nate very boring. Sorry to say, but that's how I feel. He's a good-looking guy, but he doesn't have much personality. And Mary Ann V says, I agree, Nate has no personality. Let him stay Genoa City's favorite doc. And Gary chimes in saying, Dr. Nate might be a nice, stable force in real life, but as a soap opera character, he needs to light a match under him. Take up a hobby to interest audiences. Gosh, you guys, it's so weird because I'm just now starting to really understand him and to find him having at least some feelings and at least some direction. I agree, he might be a little stiff in the personality department. He doesn't really have a sense of humor. We don't really know anything about his hobbies or anything else he likes to do. But I like it for the pure tragedy of what's going on right now with the hand. I mean, my God, his hand. Not the hand. I am just warming up to him, and it's interesting. But I'm keep them coming. Let me know. I mean, if you're not feeling the Nate, or if you're not feeling Elena. Now, Elena being boring was definitely an argument I would have made months ago. But I don't know. Giving someone something to do, giving someone a conflict. Really pulls me into their story, and it's in being pulled into their conflict that lets me know who they are, above and beyond what they do. Because as Devon pointed out in that quote, who you are and what you do are different. I mean, what you say and what you do are different. Well, let's end on a little fun note here. Victoria says, the men on Y&R are looking very attractive this fall in their leather jackets. I especially liked Nick's navy leather jacket today. Yes, Victoria, I suspect you might be in Canada because I think Nick might be wearing that leather jacket on Monday's show because, oh my goodness, yes, the men look good right now. Good, good, good. I do love the leather, and you better believe I cued into that preview of Monday's show where Nick was looking good in his leather jacket. Gosh, I hate to say it, but the father and the son, actually the father and both sons wear leather quite well. They may wear the leather, but how do they wear the fur? Hope y'all enjoy my fur poncho this week. I am extremely hot right now. Oh, if you're listening to the podcast, though, you're not seeing the fur poncho on and in all its glory. Actually, I feel like you're not really seeing it because the cut of it, I mean, the sleeves are so gorgeous the way it drapes, and I always struggle with my lighting in here, so I feel like the beauty is just not easily captured on camera, but I love my fur, and to be perfectly honest with you, I just bought another one. Sorry, Melody Thomas Scott. I ain't buying that book anytime soon. I've got fur to buy. I got a fur habit to support. Oh, goodness. All right, everyone. That takes me to the end of another furry Y&R chat. I hope that you all enjoyed it and that you make some time this week to get on over to yrchat.com and let me know what you think about the show. I think it's been a great, great week, and we are entering into all of the fall sweep stuff. So my hopes are really high that, you know, if we're not getting a lot of the character evolutions that we might want, at least we're going to get some good plot drama, and I want that too. So next week, fingers crossed, it's gonna be a good one. I think next week is gonna be a big Adam week, so we'll see what how it all goes. We'll see what everybody's up to. Okay, you guys, I hope you have a really wonderful week, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.